What's up, family? I'm Real Mike Rob. Make sure you tuning in to the 3-point conversion radio. They got all of it, and they keep it funky. Let's get it.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am Mr. Controversy. Did you miss me? And once again, we're here for Super Bowl 50, and I have a special guest. I have former NFL player who played for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers from 1983 to 92. And also, he's promoting athletes in recovery from White Sands Treatment Center. And that's my guy, Mr. Randy Grimes. How's it going today, Mr. Grimes?
Hey, I'm good, man. I miss you here on Radio Row. I wish you were out here in Tampa.
Yeah, man. I safety, but I wish I was now. I want to be there now. So but I hear everybody's having a good time there. So
Everybody
I
is. When when you go out to eat and stuff, you can't even tell that anything. I mean, everybody's taking precautions, and the NFL's done a great job. But the electricity's in the air. The NFL's done a good job of promoting this city and the signage and everything. So other than Radio Row, everything is just like always.
That's good. Good to hear. Now, I want to talk about basically what you're here for and what you're promoting. I mentioned it, the athletes in recovery. And can you speak about that? Because if people don't know, and I want you to talk about this as well, you had a problem with addiction, with
Right.
painkillers, and it almost cost you your marriage. You went through a lot, but of course you battled through it, and you're here today to talk about it. So can you speak about that?
Yeah, and I always started off by saying, I was that guy who was willing to do whatever I had to stay out on the field, and that meant taking handfuls of pain pills every day. I was not going to be on the injury report. I was not going to be always back in the training room getting worked on or on the missing practice, because that was a reputation you were never going to get away from in what was sure to be a short NFL career. So that meant taking handfuls of pain pills for me and staying out on the practice field and practicing through the pain and the injuries that I had and playing through the pain and the injuries that I had. I was not going to let anybody else get in my position. And, I looked at it back then like a necessary evil. I wanted to be the best center that ever played the game. I wanted to play the game forever. I wanted to feed my family playing a kid's football game. And, that's why I looked at it like a necessary evil. And, I was getting it from team doctors, so it must be okay, or team trainers or teammates. So that must be the culture of the league. We had an open drug safe in the middle of the training room, so I could just go get it myself if I wanted to. So that must be the culture of the league. See, these are ways that I justified it back then. And, I never expected to take that necessary evil into my retired life. And after 1992, when I didn't have that uniform to put on anymore and I didn't have that locker room to sit in and that playbook to look at, I struggled for many years. And that was just throwing gasoline on an already raging fire, which was a full-blown addiction. And, for the next 20 plus years, I struggled and, lost jobs, lost cars, lost houses, lost money, lost relationships, all because for whatever reason, pride, ego, guilt, shame, all of those things, I wouldn't put my hand up and ask for help.
It, we heard about Brett Favre when he went through his, and I think he had a root canal or something like that. And because he dealt with it, he didn't even take any painkillers because of that. Do you think it's a lot of players that deal with this?
Yeah, and I talk about also when I came into treatment back in September of 2009, there was nothing out there for former players. There was no resources available for former NFL players, and that was kind of the birth of Pro Athletes in Recovery. I wanted to make all the pain and grief and misery that I had put so many people through. I wanted to make it mean something, and I wanted to reach out to guys. I knew that there was over 17,000 former NFL players out there, many of whom I played it with and against, who were doing the same thing I was doing, self-medicating their injuries they got while they played in the league. And for whatever reason, pride, ego, guilt, shame, or they didn't know that there was a resource out there available to them, they wouldn't put up their hand and ask for help. So that's what in the beginning, that's what Athletes in Recovery was all about, was just reaching out to these guys, making sure that they knew that there was help and hope out there and that there was a resource available. Excuse me. And, we were so successful. We were helping hundreds and hundreds of former NFL players that the Major League Baseball got involved. We started helping former baseball players, former NBA guys, former NHL guys, jockeys, NASCAR drivers, MMA fighters, golfers, tennis players, pretty much every sport who has former players, because, we all have that chronic pain and we all self-medicate, and we all struggle with that transition when we don't have our sport anymore and we don't have that uniform to put on or that locker room to sit in or that playbook to look at. So those are the issues that I deal with post career.
Well, I'm definitely glad that you are doing better and you're helping this
Thank you.
cause. That is great. Now, spoke about you being a former Buccaneer. You played in the era for the Buccaneers where it wasn't that great. We all know it. It was a horrible time for
Some
that
lean
franchise.
years.
Yeah, yeah. But to see this happen this year, for Brady to come in, then you add Gronk, then you add Antonio Brown, and you all now not only play well and get to the playoffs, but you're in the Super Bowl. You're hosting the Super Bowl in Tampa Bay. How does that make an alumni feel right now?
You know what? And I talked to so many people, and they treat me like I had something to do with it, and I didn't. But that's who I'm most excited for is the fans. They've been there since day one, since '76, since the creamsicle came out. And they were sitting in that old hot stadium over there at the old Sombrero, and they always showed up. They always turned out. They were always there. They were always loyal, and that's who I'm most excited for, is those people who were there. My best year out of the whole decade I was here, my best year was 6-10. And a lot of those seasons were 2-14 or 4-12, but they were always there. They always turned out. They were always loyal, and they always supported us. And, so that's why I'm so excited for them, that not only do they get to, it's the Bucs in the big game, but here at Raymond James Stadium. And it's an electric time to be in Tampa, Florida. Look what the Lightning's done, and the Rays did, and look what the Rowdies have done. All our sports teams had a big year this year, so it's just a great time to be in the Bay Area.
No, that's definitely correct. Now, with this Tampa Bay Buccaneers team, what impresses you the most about this team?
When they signed Brady, I didn't know how much gas he still had in the tank, so I worried about physically what he was going to be able to bring to the team. And obviously, he proved us all wrong. He's got plenty left in the tank. He can go probably another 10 years easy. But he brings that air of confidence that this young Buccaneer team needed, and to come back to the huddle and have a quarterback like that in charge, somebody with that much confidence, somebody that's been there before. I think that's what these young Buccaneers need to see, because that's something they can take on forever, with or without Tom Brady. And I just think that, the fact that Coach Arians has given him the reins to be Tom Brady out on that field, I think that's huge. Because Tom knows probably more than any of those sideline coaches. And as soon as he gets to the line of scrimmage, he knows what he wants to do. He knows what he's up against, and he's seen it a million times. So, as great as Mahomes is, and that's my hometown boy, we're hometown guys. As great as he is, Brady has proven time and time again to be the man in the big game. So I got to go with him. And I love to see those old timers do good too.
Right, right. And speaking of old timers, wouldn't it be nice to have them wear the creamsicle uniforms?
Yeah. Hey, I've got a question for you.
Okay.
And we were just talking about this. If Brady wins his 7th ring, does that make him the greatest American athlete of all time?
Woo. Mr.
Does that make him better, a bigger GOAT than Jordan?
Jordan, we just had this conversation on our radio show this Saturday, and I cannot come up with the answer. Because look, I want to put them there, and because when you think of the two, longevity, of course, they were both great, both clutch, and not just clutch. Even if I could say this, beyond clutch, because they were able to push themselves far beyond what their bodies were able to handle, and that's how they won. See, and I'm from Chicago, Mr. Guns. I know you see the Bears logo in the back,
I know, yeah.
if you can see it, but maybe I feel like I'm gonna get struck down if I say he's better than Jordan, but you might have to say so. I mean, 14 championships, that's crazy.
Yeah, 7 rings.
Right. I think it's harder to get to the Super Bowl than get to the finals.
And with a new team in your first year.
See, so I guess you just said it. I guess you have to, God, please don't let me strike me down, but I guess you have to say that you can put him there because he's doing the first year, first team. And each year he's done it with New England Patriots has been different. And then let's not forget this too, Mr. Grimes, that the 2 years, well, he lost 3. So all 3 games that he lost in the Super Bowl, he had put his team ahead late. And it was like less than 2 minutes left. And the other teams had to come back and win. So it wasn't on him, even though it's a team sport. But Brady did what he had to do for that team to win. So he should have he should have 9 right now. It's amazing. So I guess you gotta put him there. I guess you gotta put him there. I have to ask you this though. When you play, can you tell me what defensive tackle you went against that gave you fits?
Oh, you mean other than Randy White or Michael Carter or Joe Klecko or Reggie White? You mean, my biggest nightmare now is still thinking about Reggie White being over me on 3rd and long, and everybody in the stadium knowing that we're fixing to pass the ball, and I've got a shotgun snap first before I even attempt to block him. I mean, I still struggle with nightmares over that. I mean, that guy was unstoppable, absolutely unstoppable. But, also my first start in the league was at Texas Stadium against Randy White. And, Michael Carter, and going against guys like the Fridge and Hampton and McMichael and Singletary, all in the middle, usually bouncing off all 4 of them every play. So there were so many great players. I've got so many great memories and so many great battles in the trenches back then in that black and blue division.
Yeah. And I know back then, you all didn't get they used to call you the big uglies, and you all didn't get the notoriety and attention, even the paychecks today. How happy are you to see these offensive linemen, center, tackles, whatever it is, whoever they are, getting this big paycheck and just getting the attention they deserve?
Well, they're finally getting the notoriety because people realize that they are skilled players. To be a center, to be a guard, to be a left tackle, to be a right tackle. They are skill positions, and they're finally starting to get their worth there. They've been around for so long and protected so many great quarterbacks, and people now know how beneficial that is to keep the running backs and the quarterback healthy. But I'm excited for those guys. I wish I'd have got those big paychecks.
I know that's right.
That's right. But that's just the way the league's evolved. It's so much different now than it was when I played. Back when I played, we beat the crap out of each other all week, and then we just barely had enough left in tank to play on Sunday. And the game's changed so much. Now they don't practice as hard during the week. If you have an injury, it's because you probably got it in a game, and that's the way it's supposed to be, instead of us, getting banged up because we're practicing so hard. And it's just a different mentality, and guys are able to have longer careers and fewer injuries. It's a better. You can have a longer career now.
Right. And before I let you go, if you can give me a score and a prediction for the Super Bowl.
by 10. I've been saying it all day. Bucks by 10.
Bucks by 10. How many touchdowns does Brady get?
I think he throws for 3.
Ooh. Okay. Hey,
that's as good as any. I mean, the guy's capable of doing anything.
Yeah.
It's going to be, but the game's going to be won in the trenches. It's going to be between the 2 lines, the offensive and defensive line on both sides.
Right. Okay. And once again, we have Mr. Randy Grimes, and he's with Athletes Recovery.
ProAthletesInRecovery.org. Or you can
.org, okay.
find or you can find me at randygrimespeaks.com or wstreatment.com. I'm also talking about the work that White Sands Treatment Center does with athletes in recovery and the Player Care Foundation at the NFL. So I want to make sure that gets plugged.
All right, y'all. Well, once again, we appreciate you all for viewing. Thank you, Mr. Randy Grimes, and you all have a great day. We'll see you. Shoot, who knows? Maybe later on today. All right.
All right. Thank you, buddy. Have a good one.
Mr. Randy.